Hello and welcome back to a brand new Pokemon Showdown team building video. Today we have a monstrous attack power beast right in front of us here. We have a Gallade. I'm excited to use Gallade. We're gonna ignore the name Saitama because honestly, naming Gallade is hard. Before I had one called Keith, okay? It was this or Keith. So Saitama from One Punch Man. I'm sure everyone gets the reference if you've seen the anime anyway. And we are going to be making this a very, 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 very bulky set. I said very a lot there. There's a reason for that. We're making a bulk up set, and it's going to be interesting. This Pokemon could potentially cover everything. We could just lead with this and sweep. And that could be amazing. However, it's probably not going to happen, but generally I want Drain Punch on this set so we can get some HP recovery. I kind of want leftovers on this set for HP recovery. Steadfast, Justified. Honestly, I'm going to probably keep Steadfast just in case we get hit by a Fake Out and we can get a Speed Boost. That could actually be pretty useful and pretty clutch. Whereas Justified, we're boosting our attack anyway. It might not matter that much. Knockoff could affect us, but in fact, Knockoff is a thing. Maybe I do want Justified. Plus, there's a lot more Knockoff users than Fake Out users. And Fake Out is probably the only way we're really getting flinched. Rock Slide probably isn't going to be used against us because we're a fighting type. We're going to go to Justified. Okay, I've changed my mind on that one a little bit. We're going to have both our stab moves. We're also going to have a Psycho Cut, so we have both our stab. And we are also going to have Knockoff, so we can hit ghost types. Like, if we went up against a ghost dark type like Spiritomb with Drain Punch and Psycho Cut, that would be pretty bad. So we are not going to be running max attack. Instead, normally you'd assume that you'd run max attack and max speed. We aren't going to be doing that. We're actually going to be making this thing specially defensive. That might seem a little bit extreme, because its special defense is already pretty good. Its HP is not that great, but you know, it's bearable, I guess. But we're going to be making this thing very specially defensive, and we are going to be boosting all of its defense. The aim of this is just to make this thing a complete wall breaker. We give it bulk ups and we just let it tear through teams with Drain Punch and leftovers getting its health back from any attacks it takes. Hopefully that will all go well. It's a set I want to try and we'll see how it goes, basically. Do we want to make you shiny? I do not think we want to make you shiny. I think I like Gallade as is. So, building a team around Gallade. Here's where things get awkward, because Gallade doesn't have normal weaknesses in a way. I mean, it does have normal weaknesses, weak to standard types, but its typing being Psychic Fighting just doesn't really... It pairs strangely. It's a little bit like how I feel with Cradily being Rock Grass. It covers each other kind of well, but not perfectly well, like Ghost Dark. So it's still weak to Flying. It gets rid of its Psychic weakness. It doesn't have a Fighting weakness. It's weak to Fairy. It's weak to Flying, Fairy, and Ghost. So some strange type combinations there, some very strange type combinations. If I had to pick one that I was the most afraid of, it would probably be the Flying typing. Because Fairy types, the only real Fairy type we have to worry about is Diancie. Because there's not really that many Fairy types in here. Admittedly, there's Grand Ball. Grand Ball isn't too common, though. It's pretty slow as well. We also have, where did I see it? Aromatisse, which also, again, is not that scary. It's kind of subpar. It's pretty slow. We could probably set up a bulk up on it and take a hit or two, and that wouldn't be too much of a trouble. So, just thinking about Flying type. Probably the scariest thing that could come for us. We could have like a Acrobatics from a Fletchinder, that could be terrifying, something like that. That makes me think I kind of want a Steel type, because a Steel type would deal with Fairy and Flying. Completely ignoring the Ghost type weakness for now, we will cover that later on. So, what defensive Steel types do we have? Steel is arguably the best defensive typing. So I'm not 100% sure if I want to make this my physical wall or my special wall. Registeel is in this tier actually, because this is an RU tier team builder, I should mention that. Registeel could fit either defensive, and that would be nice. That would give us some options. We could have physical defense or special defense. I'd be more tempted to run it specially defensively, but we could also run Bastiodon, which would 4 times resist flying, which would be nice. Would still resist fairy. Having a 4 times weakness to fighting and ground is a little bit bad. I don't particularly like it, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm thinking Registeel so far. Probopass is a little bit like Registeel in a way, but Registeel does it better, I feel. So I think I'd rather use Registeel than that. I think we're going to take a Registeel on our team. And we're just going to call you Aegis. We're going to completely steal Aegislash's name and just stick it on the front of Registeel, because they're going to do the same thing. It's going to be fine. So I don't normally double up on items, but I'm assuming this is going to want leftovers. We might change it to citrus if that can work, but I think we're going to take leftovers. If you are going to be using this team on Aurus, I'm going to suggest changing Gallade to maybe citrus, or maybe change one of these to citrus, because I don't think Battle Spot allows duplicate items, unless that's changed. I don't think that's changed. I'm fairly certain you can't use duplicate items on Aurus. We are going to be running... we can tech Stealth Rocks. We can definitely tech Stealth Rocks. They will be very, very valuable. What else do we want? We can tech... probably Toxic, so we can get some damage going. Toxic would be very nice. I kind of want to run Rest, so we have some recovery. I don't think it gets any other recovery. There's no Pain Split or anything like that. No Recover. Nothing of that nature in the slightest. Psych Up could be some fun, but that's way too situational for this. We're gonna just kinda run Rest for recovery, and we're gonna run Seismic Toss for secure damage. I'm having that 4-slot move syndrome where I kinda want to run Earthquake as well, so I can hit Poison and Steel types that can't be Toxic. But you know what? It'll be fine. I do kinda want to run this especially defensively. We're gonna be running not maximum HP, so we don't take so much on Stealth Rock entry, because I just feel like there's gonna be Stealth Rocks. I just feel like it. And now we are looking for something physically defensive that pairs well with Steel. So Steel is weak to Fire, Ground. Ground is probably the scariest at the moment. I'm definitely afraid of Ground type moves. So something that could take an Earthquake well would be nice. We also have to worry about Fighting. Honestly, Ground and Fighting scare me a little bit more than Fire right now, because Fire is generally special. When I think Fire, I think like Delphox, I think Camerupt, I think Flamethrower, and I think that maybe Gallade can actually work with that, so... Thinking of something to take a ground type hit, I kind of want a Levitate user. Actually, before we go to that, let's see if there's any good flying types. So flying type, immune to ground, so we don't have to worry about that. I'm mainly looking, and flying type does resist fighting, so I mean, we could possibly, if there's like a typing like Aerodactyl that also resists fire, we could have everything, but Aerodactyl is not defensive in the slightest. Not even a little bit defensive. So Mantine, no, it's just not good enough. Peliput, again, it lacks that oomph that you really need on a team to like make things go your way. Swanna isn't defensive. Noibat is a little cut Pokemon, there's no way I'm using that. Archeops can't be defensive. You know, this typing, the typing that resists fire, Altaria would probably be the best. But we have another option we can look at. We can look at Levitate users. They are a thing. They would also be immune to ground. I'm also looking for something like Wheezing would be quite nice. It has a nice physical defense stat. It can take a fighting type hit. It's immune to Earthquake. It doesn't do very well against fire type moves, but at the same time we can always come up with a check to that later. So for the time being, Wheezing, you are going to be on the team. We're going to give you the Black Sludge, because that's a new item. That's the main reason, and it's a form of reliable recovery. We can just come up with a very basic name for you. We'll just call you James from Team Rocket, because he had a Wheezing. I know, right? Great naming. And let's see, we'll give you Pain Split for recovery. I like recovery on defensive Pokemon. We can give you Will-O-Wisp to burn physical attackers, that's always nice. We can give you Sludge Bomb or Sludge Wave. Because you don't really pack that much of a punch, like, I mean, your physical attack is actually higher, but you get no physical moves. You're like, you don't get Poison Jab or anything like that. All of your poison moves special. That's so insulting towards this Pokemon. I think we'll give a Sludge Bomb then, for the time being, because we're not really going on our attack stat, so that's not going to matter too much. I'd rather have the Poison chance. And the final move is where I start thinking, do I want to take something like Destiny Bond? Because I'm not going to lie, that could be so useful. Like, if there's just a complete threat to our team, Destiny Bond could seriously do some serious damage. We could also run Explosion. Explosion could do some serious damage. My normal would be to run Flamethrower to hit Steel types that can't be hit by Sludge Bomb. And but they can be hit by Will-O-Wisp and worn down. We could also give it something like Memento, just for that initiative for Gallade to come in. We have options here. We actually have a lot of options. So I'm thinking we're just gonna stick with the Will-O-Wisp. We're not gonna go for anything crazy like Memento, because just burning something, then that would give us enough initiative to go into Gallade. So I think I'm gonna stick with my normal and run Flamethrower so we can hit Steel types, and we will make you physically defensive, obviously as much as possible, because your physical defense is a beautiful stat that we will abuse a little bit. So we also want to make sure that you have negative attack nature, because that way you're not hurting yourself in confusion. If it happens, it's very unlikely, but we'll run negative attack natures on anything that doesn't need it, so that looks good. That's a strange core. That's the I Hate Fairies core. I dubbed this core the I Hate Fairies core. It's nice that both of our walls resist the fairy typing. That does actually seriously help out Gallade a lot. So, thinking about that, what do we have a newfound weakness to? Fire. Fire is a weakness. Fire is definitely a weakness. However, I'm not afraid of fire yet. I'm really not. Fire is not that bad. What other weaknesses do we have? Ghost, a little bit. Ghost and Fire are probably the worst, but I mean, there's no Chandelure in this team. There's nothing that's scaring me in this tier, unless there's a Typhlosion with, like, a Choice Specs Typhlosion. That could actually be pretty scary. I kind of want to take an Electric type onto the team, just so we can have some Volt Switch initiative. So I'm going to look for something with Volt Switch. I love the filter. We're also lacking a strong special attacker, so we'll sort by special attack. This is something I never do, okay? And something that probably a lot of people don't even realize, but you can click all of these different stats and it will sort by the highest special attack stat in the tier. So the highest special attack stat we can have is actually Magneton, which is pretty crazy considering it can still evolve. So we could take... I'm kind of thinking I want this to be my Choice Scarfer as well. Get Choice Scarf Volt Switch user. I kind of like the idea of that. So Choice Scarf Magneton is a thing, but it's not really what I want. I don't really want another fire weakness. That's... Well, it's not that I don't want another fire weakness, it's more I don't want another steel type, because that would double up on too many weaknesses. That would add another ground weakness. That's a load of stuff I don't want. Ampharos, not going to be fast enough. Jolteon, we'll see. It's not really the power I was imagining, or the defenses I was imagining. I kind of want a secondary typing, but I'm not sure what until I see it. I don't really know. Maybe just something like Rotom. Maybe a Rotom form. Why is it only showing one Rotom form? Is it really only going to show one Rotom form? That's kind of weird. That's really kind of weird. I mean, what about, like, other Rotoms? Because they apparently don't get Volt Switch? I'm very confused. Where are the other Rotom forms? Yeah, there's another Rotom form. Are you trying to tell me that Rotom Mo doesn't get Volt Switch? Because I'm pretty sure it does. Okay, I don't know what was happening there. But you know what? I think the Rotom Mo form does seem like quite a nice pickup. We can give it the Leaf Storm. We can give it the Thunderbolt. This can be a pretty nice revenge killer, and it will allow us to destroy ground types. So Earthquake is a lot less scary, which is nice. We also have Levitate, so we're not weak to ground type moves, which is nice. Does add a fire weakness. We're also going to give you Trick, because that could be situational and fun. So, really? No speed investment? I'm choice scarfing this. Yep, okay. Speed is happening. Definitely going to be running some level of speed. So a nice, powerful special attacker. I like that. I like that a lot. That can revenge kill things. I'm pretty sure I've called you Momo in the past, so we're going to call you Momo again because it's just a fun little name. And now I have to start actually thinking because we are starting to rack up a fire weakness. So, what are we looking for? What are we lacking? We have setup potential, we have a special wall, we have a physical wall, we have Switch Initiative and a Choice Scarfer in one, with Volt Switch Initiative. This is such a pivot, oh my god. This Pokemon is such a pivot. We need to make sure that we have some fire counters, in all honesty, just to make sure that this Pokemon can survive. So Bug is another type this is weak to, but our core covers that. Any other weaknesses I can think of, not that are scary. Nothing too intimidating. So you know what, fire is definitely a priority. So a water type just kind of makes sense, plus water only being weak to electric and grass means we can rely on our pivot a bit more. Our core resists grass pretty well. Just seems pretty nice, to be honest. So, what kind of water type are we looking for? Probably not one that's part ice type, because that would not resist fire, so it has to resist fire. Not gonna lie, both of the fossil Pokemons have caught my eye. Omastar has caught my eye because it can Shell Smash. Kabutops has caught my eye because it can Swords Dance. But I think Kabutops gets a little bit more that it can do with it, because I'm pretty sure Omastar doesn't have any real rock-type special moves. Yeah, Hidden Power Rock, Ancient Power. Is that all it has access to? We're gonna run a Kabutops, which is not something I normally do. This is one of my favourite Pokemon from Gen 1, and it's not a Pokemon that I've run in God knows how long, so we're gonna give this a go. As for its item, I immediately want to give it a Focus Sash, purely because it's 4 times weak to grass. I just do. I want to give it a Focus Sash. So, for the time being, it's actually going to have a Focus Sash. That may change. We'll give it Weak Armor, so it can get that extra speed, which could be really good, actually. Okay, I'm starting to like where this is going. We're going to give it Swords Dance. We're going to give it Aqua Jet for priority. We're going to need Stone Edge for Stab. And not gonna lie, I don't really know what the last move could be. This thing does get Rapid Spin. Now that's not gonna happen. This cannot be running that. No. We're running this thing as pure power. We don't need this. Does this thing really not get Earthquake? It gets Earth Power and not Earthquake? Are you kidding me? I did not realize that. I assumed it would get Earthquake. Huh. I don't like that. So, we're going to be running this thing max speed. It's still only 80 base speed. I mean, Weak Armor could make up for that, but the keyword is could. There's no guarantee that we are going to be able to get a Weak Armor boost off in the first place. So, our last move has to be... I mean, if I knew we were going to get the speed boost off, I'd probably replace Aqua Jet with Waterfall, so we could get double the power and not have to worry so much about outspeeding, but instead we'll run Stone Edge, and we will also run... I kind of want to run Knockoff, but I kind of don't. Honestly, looking at its moves, Knockoff is the best move that we can run. So, we are not running you with HP investment, not a damn chance. Do I want to run you Jolly or Adamant? Considering we're running Aqua Jet, and if we do get a Weak Armor boost, I think we're going to stick with Adamant, Now that could come back to bite us. It really could, because speed ties are a thing that we will lose if we don't run Jolly with 80 base speed. But we'll see how it goes. I don't have a name for Kabutops in my head just yet. Just kidding, yes I do. You're pre-Cypher, how can I forget your name? I have used you before in a team builder. What am I talking about? There we go. Oh, we can also make you shiny to make you look like a Cypher, right? That looks like a Cypher, right? Oh my god, it's so ugly. Yeah, we're running it. Okay, that's happening. Nah, we'll keep you green. I don't think I want anyone shiny. Maybe Registeel. Yeah, you have a nice tint to you. Okay, we'll run that shiny. And now it comes down to our final member. So that is a very heavy resistance to the fire typing. However, it's still pretty frail. So another resistance to fire would be nice. Maybe even a fire type of our own. Mega Camerupt does definitely tempt me. We don't have any real water weakness. None of our Pokemon are weak to water. And we do have some Pokemon that can deal with water types, being mainly... I don't want to put any more pressure onto that Rotom. That Rotom has got so much pressure on it already. Okay, scrap that completely. We have a Choice Scarf user. Maybe if... I do kind of want a fire type of our own. That just seems like the right thing to do. That is a little bit of a ground type weakness. Ground type is going to be such a pivot for this team. Like, the enemy is going to be so afraid to go for an Earthquake because we have 2 Levitate users, but also we have 2 Pokemon weak to ground. So I'm kind of thinking I do want a fire type, but I'm not sure if I want to run a fire type that's on the ground or not. I kind of want to run a fire type that's not weak to ground, but there's none of them, okay. Like, that would consist of Charizard or, like, Fletchinder or Larvesta, and we're not running Larvesta. So, scrap that. I still like the idea of a fire type. However, I think we might go with Choice Specs Typhlosion, because that thing is a monster, and we can give it Flash Fire, and that would be really nice. We'd have a swap in for any fire type move. Yeah, that does seem really nice. Choice Specs Typhlosion does actually hit like a truck. So, with the Flash Fire, if we could get a Flash Fire boost on an Eruption from a Choice Specs, I'm sorry, but even resisted hits Kadoko, that would be so nice. So we'll give it Flamethrower just in case like they have Stealth Rocks up or anything like that and we take a lot of damage. We'll give it Focus Blast for a little bit of coverage, and we'll also give it Hidden Power Grass so it can hit water and ground types and stuff like that. So, we're gonna nickname you frickin' Pyro because I'm going with my really basic names right now. I'm gonna make some of this team female, to be honest, because we can't really make you female. You're genderless anyway, you have to be male. Okay, well, that's a little bit of resistance to attract if anyone's running it. I don't think they will be, but that's just me being paranoid. That looks powerful. The team is valid. I wasn't 100% sure about Flash Fire for some reason, but yeah, Flash Fire is valid now, so we can have Flash Fire Typhlosion. That seems monstrously powerful. I kind of like it. We're not 100% about setting up, but we do have some setup. We have 2 Pokemon that can set up, both physical, but that should be fine. We have Switch Initiative, we have Status, we have a nice defensive core. Okay, the team looks good. If you guys have enjoyed this team building episode, leave a like down below, hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, bye!